Hey guys, Jenna Childers here with Jackson Family Wines. I can't tell you how excited I am to share some tips and tricks with you today about the upcoming career fair, how to engage and connect with employers, how to get your wiggles out before your actual real interview, as well as how to follow up and connect with these employers. But before I do, I wanted to invite Katie Young here. She is a walking success to Jackson Family Regal Wine Company, to our recruiting process. And while she was in college, she was one of the best at following up with me. I never missed her face on campus, always knew exactly who she was because she was very forward about who she was, what she wanted to do, as well as being very patient when it comes to hiring her for the specific location that she wanted to work in. So I'm gonna give Katie the reins to really share her story with you guys and give you some advice and some things to really think about as you embark on maybe the last 2 years of school, the last year, or the last couple of weeks. So, all right, Katie, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate it. Yeah, so my name's Katie Young. I am somewhat of a recent grad. I graduated in May of 2019, so 2 years ago. I was a business marketing student and I minored in psychology. So I kind of always knew that I wanted to go into sales. I liked the people side of it. I liked kind of uncovering why and how people make decisions, just all that kind of stuff. I was involved on campus, so I was part of the Chico Entrepreneurial Association. I did the Cycle on Sales program. I had an internship with Aflac doing insurance sales, so lots of cold calling.
Very busy girl.
Yeah, I just had my plate full. And I think I first met Jenna and went to the Jackson Family booth. I think the winter career fair before I graduated, so about 6 months prior. And I just kept keeping in touch with Jenna. So I went to every career fair after that. I went to every info session.
You even went to the AWIB summit and totally tracked me down on my panel.
I did. I think the biggest thing for me is just communication and making yourself stand out. So whenever you attend a meeting or a presentation like that, send them a follow-up within 24 hours, connect with them on LinkedIn. That was a big thing for me too. Have them in your network because you never know, when you're going to cross paths with someone again, no matter which route you go. It's just important to, maintain any connections that you make. So I definitely reached out to Jenna very often, even if
more frequently than she probably should have, but
yes, I remember emailing you Happy New Year just to check in and
seriously.
So just, I don't know, make sure that you're putting yourself out there. Growing up, my parents always said the phrase, the squeaky wheel gets heard. And I think that's so true.
I love that.
So, just make yourself known. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. That's how you're going to stand out from the rest. Because just like you're looking at a bunch of different companies, recruiters are looking at a lot of candidates. So it's up to you to make yourself stand out. So I guess how I joined the company, I would say just communication and patience. I was set on being in the Santa Rosa territory. I'm from Sonoma County, so it was important for me. So I was patient. I waited it out, and the opportunity came up about, I'd say 5 or 6 months after I graduated, and I just knew it was the perfect fit. So I, just be patient and wait for the right opportunity. So
yeah, well, and I feel like that's just such a great way to look at your career, right? Not jumping the gun, not taking the first job offer, really making sure that company culture and the role and the development in that company for you professionally is the direction you want to go, right? So don't just take any job because no employer really wants to see, 6 jobs after college. We just don't. So I would definitely keep that in mind. And I'm glad that you waited. And I remember chatting with you even when you weren't, an employee here. And I was like, okay, girl, just be patient. We got you. I promise you're going to get hired. And I think because she trusted us, now she's trusting us with her career. She's already been promoted to a very good territory in San Jose in the Los Gatos territory. She's already killing it. I mean, people are already starting to talk about her. So she's got a lot of a really great career ahead of her. And she's not even 2 years post grad, and she's already come such a long way.
Thank you.
So what are some things that you would give a current college student like some advice when it comes
Yes.
to, just engaging with employers, like when it comes to this like virtual world? Like, do you have any pieces of
Yeah.
advice?
I mean, just definitely following up. I want to touch on what you said too, just about not jumping to the first offer you get. I definitely, as a grad, like a, you know, you're looking at all these jobs, you're anxious. It's a tough time.
Uh-huh.
Like you're used to being in school your whole life and then you're thrown into the real world. It's an exciting time, but it's nerve-wracking. And it's hard too because your friends might be getting offers and it's an anxious time, but be patient and wait for the right fit. I think you'll know when it is, a mutual fit for everyone. So
Yeah.
I think that's one of the most important things you can do for yourself too, is ask tons of questions to the employer.
Yeah. Well, basically, I always say like interview the employer. Like, don't think like, don't get all nervous. Like, oh no, I have an interview. It's like, no, you have the pleasure to interview that recruiter to see if that company is the right fit for you. So if you flip the switch on how you're going to look at your interview, it's going to go so much better. You're going to be more confident and you're going to know like within minutes if that's the right company for you because of how that employer is engaging with you. Right. I mean, you can either have a great taste in your mouth or a really bad taste in your mouth, depending on your experience. And the recruiter is definitely like a little glimpse as to what the company culture is like and what to experience and to expect once you get there. So if you were to get hired by a recruiter who is very firm, very corporate, like that when you start to work for them, it's gonna be corporate, right? Like that's what to expect because Jackson Family has hired me to be the recruiter because I embody the culture of the organization. So that's what I spread. So when people come to work for us, they know what to expect. So I think that's really important when you do go into interviews, really get to know that recruiter because they were chosen to represent the company for a reason. So I think that's a really good point.
And I think that's one of the questions I ask a recruiter too, is probably one of my favorite questions would be like, why are you proud to work for this company? I think that's, you just get a genuine answer from them. And I just think it touches on the culture and, what they love about it and why they love what they do. And so I don't know, your passion for the company is what drew me in initially and brought me back to your booth every time with the career fair. I just could sense that right away that like the company felt like a family to you. And you just spoke so highly of the career opportunities that it's open for you, and anyone could see that. So that was special to me.
I love that. Well, and you touched on, a great interview question. Is there any other questions that you, as a just human, kind of like have tucked in your armpit, just in case you get an interview that are like your go-to questions for an interview?
Yeah, I think, I would ask them what a day-to-day looks like for them, just so you can envision what it would look like for yourself. I would ask about the team, the dynamic between managers and the teammates. I would ask what qualities top performers have. So like how is it handled in the company? Is it encouraged? How is performance measured? How are employees rewarded for success? Like those are all really important factors because those are it's what's going to motivate you when you're actually executing in your job.
Exactly. Well, and it's like you want to know that anyways, right? Like, so why not ask those types of questions? I mean, when they talk to you, I mean, some go-to questions are like, well, what are some of your weaknesses? And then you think, okay, well, I have to spin this into a positive. It's like, well, no, like tell a story, like really embrace who you are, and then throw it right back at them. Like, hey, obviously this is something that I've been challenged on and something I'm working on. But what are some things that you may have seen as your challenges as you started this role that you had to overcome to become who you are today? Then they're like, oh, like this person's a conversationalist. Okay, great.
Make them think a little bit.
Exactly, because the old school way of thinking is like, oh, it's an 80-20 rule, right? The candidate should talk 80%, the recruiter should talk 20%. I am 100% 50-50. Like this should be very conversational, like we are right now. Like that's how an interview should be if it's meant to be. Right? It means you're clicking, you're vibing,
Right.
I love that. So when when you're looking, Katie, for like your future and like what's next, how are you utilizing like all the trainings and the mentor mentee
Yeah,
mentality, and how are you able to network? Because we all know like we don't want to be in entry level sales forever. So what are
yeah,
some things that we're doing as an organization for our entry level sales team?
yeah. Oh, so many things. Well, I would say too, just with this company, the fact that you can reach out to anyone, even higher up managers, and everyone knows everyone. You don't feel like a number, so you feel comfortable enough to give someone a call and ask for advice. And the regional manager and vice president of sales have come out to my territory with me and pointed out opportunities for my business. Everyone is truly there for you, which is, I don't think every company can say the same.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows everyone, which is so special. There are just so many opportunities to grow. There are wine education courses all the time. I didn't know anything about wine when I first started. That just goes to show you, don't talk yourself out of things. Don't feel intimidated or, discouraged because you don't feel like you know everything. I didn't know anything about wine when I first came to the company, and they provide all that. There's just so many courses and trainings. You do tastings, and I mean, even just with the we do virtual
World.
now.
I know
Yeah.
it's been a little crazy, right?
Yes, but I don't know. We're just constantly growing and learning, and
Mhm.
it's just been really great.
I love that. I love that. So, as we kind of, come to a close, as an employer and as, a partner, I wanted to basically give a couple tips and tricks just in general when it comes to this like virtual setting. So making sure that like your etiquette is top of the line when it comes to this type of interviewee, connecting with employer and engagement opportunities. So making sure obviously that you follow up. If you know an employer is coming to your program, to your club, to your class, and you already have their contact info, email them in advance, letting them know how excited you are to reconnect with them. Follow them on LinkedIn, follow their network on LinkedIn, whatever company that they work for. Being able to send a follow-up email after, putting comments in the comment box, raising your hand during a presentation, and actually asking a question that is really important, and making that impact with the employer. So following up, but then what happens when you get the interview, right? It's also a virtual setting. So making sure that your like 2x2 box is professional. Like I love Katie's background. It's blank. Like
Yeah.
it's not distracting. I'm not worried about what's going on around her. For me, it's just very simple. Her lighting is great. She's not like me with all of her hands. I'm just a hand talker, but she's, very professional in her presence, right? She's making great eye contact. So that's something that you really need to think about, because I don't want to see a bunch of stuff in the background. Right now you do, because this is my Friday and I can do what I want. But when you are in an interview or in a really important class or club where an employer is going to be watching, like please find a blank wall, find a very nice decor piece behind you. You need to control the controllables. If you're outside, it's going to get windy. You may hear a dog bark or a siren. Not cool, not in a class setting, not in an interview, whatever it may be. It's very distracting. Also making sure that it's conversational, and opening up your interview with that tell me about yourself is like your go-to like mint chip ice cream. Like you're gonna reel them in. Like that is the one thing is that's going to set you apart and grab their attention right off the bat. So making sure that you have like your brand statement of who you are, what you're looking for, your research, so that everything, it's like your thesis statement. So everything that you say, tell me about yourself, right here, you can build off of it throughout your interview, kind of like an essay or a paper. Making sure that you close your interview with asking for the job or asking for professional feedback, whatever it may be. So long story short, I hope that this was, informational, educational, and maybe gave you a little piece of, advice, tips and tricks, as well as some living proof of kind of like what Jackson Family is going to do for, our recruits, for our employees, as well as just be able to help you guys develop professionally. So your business acumen. So if anyone ever has questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. I will do resume review. I'll do mock interviews and provide some professional feedback if needed. You're more than welcome to email me at careers@jfwmail.com. And if for any reason you'd like to connect with Katie, just don't hesitate to find her on LinkedIn or reach out to me for her information. Katie Young, Caitie, Young,
Yeah.
and Jenna Childers. So National Campus Recruiting Manager, Royal Sales Rep. We are, happy to help you guys out. So don't hesitate to reach out, and we hope that you find the career you're looking for. And if it's at Jackson Family, we will look forward to welcoming you.
Yeah.
Thank
Best
you
of luck.
guys.